You just hit play on 10-minute tech talks, business insights, and growth hacks for the time-crunched entrepreneur. I am Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council, with nearly 3 decades telling the stories of Pittsburgh's most successful tech companies and the women and men behind them. We bring you their knowledge, insights, and inspiration to help your company succeed in just 10 minutes, sometimes even less. Can an entrepreneur have his proverbial cake and eat it too? Well, Mike Vinzler, co-owner of Tronix 3D, a Pittsburgh-based 3D printer, seems to be doing just that. You gotta keep on listening to learn how Mike is growing Tronix 3D while also having a ton of fun pursuing passion projects along the way. In this episode of 10-Minute Tech Talks, Mike reveals how Tronix 3D's profitable bread and butter defense projects are paving the way for projects that ignite his creative spark and open ideas for potential new lines of business. Let's get a taste of the Tronix 3D cake and hear from Mike right now. And to get his full Tech Vibe Radio interview, click on the link in the description. So first off, 3D printing, this is a vast topic, and obviously you can 3D print pretty much anything these days. What are the core things that Tronix 3D does? What is your bread and butter when it comes to 3D printing?
Our bread and butter might not even necessarily be like the super cool things that we're doing.
That's okay.
It may end up shifting and pivoting.
Yeah. But I always find that so interesting, though, because I love it when a company is just innovating and making great money and just doing great stuff around something you're like, what? That little piece? It's like, yeah, but without that little piece, that submarine doesn't go very far or something like that. I just feel like there's a lot to be said for, it doesn't have to be the sexiest thing in the world, but if you're making something and it's needed, I'm in.
I think to Alex's point, the key is that we have a bunch of stuff that we just manufacture all the time for regular customers. It's cool. Some of the parts go into nuclear submarines. Some of the parts, a lot of them are Department of Defense. But I think one of the things that makes us stand out is that we truly have a passion. So even some of the things that aren't the massive revenue generators, we're still going after them.
Very cool.
We want to come in and we want to enjoy coming to work every day, and we want to take on those projects, and we want to, there's a certain amount of enjoyment to working with startups and working with the innovators here in Pittsburgh. They're not the ones that are going to be like, hey, I need 10,000 parts and run our printers for the next 2 years. Right. But that's what gets you to come to work in the morning, and and so I think we have a really good mix of making one really cool part for some autonomous drone for a startup or something, and then we got the bulk of the production as well. But additive manufacturing is just really unique because we can make all of those parts all at the same time, and the manufacturing is flexible, right? Traditional manufacturing, you got to set up to do widget A, right? We can make 47 widgets that are for all different companies all at the same time. And so it's just a whole different kind of process flow. And that allows us to be fun, creative, throw in that one part. We're making fishing bobbers for a local company, try to do weird stuff. We printed Pokemon figures, right? We've done all of that stuff. Now, does that pay the bills? Not really. But man, it makes it a fun place to work. And we're always also printing stuff for ourselves. So,
First off, you brought me this awesome fidget spinner here, man. I'm kind of obsessed with it. This thing I'm amazed. Like, I got this cool little corkscrew on it, and it runs a gear, and I'm turning and this thing was printed. That's just so cool to me. So tell me, let's cut this into 2 categories, and let's make this kind of fun. Okay, so what is the kind of stuff that makes you the money so you can do then the fun stuff?
Yeah, so the stuff that makes us the money is the large production stuff, right? Yeah. So we're making 500 server casings for a nuclear submarine, right? Or something.
Server casings. So tell me about that. That's really cool.
I don't even know how much I can say about it.
Don't kill me afterwards.
These polymer server housings for different Department of Defense, Navy-related projects. Awesome. So we work with a really good customer in that space on a really unique relationship, and they're like a third of our business or something. Right? They keep our machines running. They have long lead times. Just keep cranking, or keeps kind of that base load busy going.
And how did you find them as a customer? I'm always amazed. I think about something like that, like this part on a submarine, and it's like, wow, that has to be made, and someone's like, where do I get this? And they find you to make it. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah, so it's actually a unique story because they actually also sell the printers. And they're like a reseller of the printer, right? And they generally sell to the government entities. So that's how they're in the government space. So they sell government computer systems, they sell government, you know what I mean? And our big printers, our big multi-$100,000 printers are made by HP, right? So they're in that HP ecosystem, And we started working with them on, they would do the service, they would buy the printers, and then they make their own bespoke products for the government as well. And they needed lots of overflow capacity. And so we ended up starting with that. And then they quickly realized that the quality of the parts coming out of our printer, were so good that they just shifted a bunch of their production to us, right? Awesome. And some of their more difficult stuff. And I don't know all the details. I don't know the whole back end, but they were like, hey, we really like what you're doing. Just run with it.
Just run with it, yeah.
And so our work with them just keeps ever increasing, and we just keep being that quality go-to supplier for them. And they have some of the same equipment in their own shop, and we're building a lot of parts
fantastic.
for them. So.
That's a great story. That's the type of stuff I'm like, that's how stuff
it's just a really good relationship. But, and the more work they give us, the more printers we buy, so I'm sure it works all out.
It works all right? Same way, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a bad.
I am so stoked that you made 10-Minute Tech Talks part of your day. I hope you learned something new and valuable. And if you want to keep getting more business building, technology, and entrepreneurial insights, just subscribe. We're pushing out new interviews at least once per week. I hope to see you on the next one.